Toki, what are you doing? Ni hao, everybody. I'm back in Shanghai, but I have a lot of travel materials to show you. So today I would like to show you my trip to Tokyo, which was interesting, very odd, very strange, but also very nice. I'll give you a brief summary. I don't want to be too negative, but it was very different than I expected. So, here we go. Rent a costume and bike around like an anime character. So we're walking around in Tokyo and just noticing how like not everything is as new as we expected or as it is in the movies. Like the cars look really old and some buildings, and especially because I live in Shanghai now. Yeah, I feel it looks like some things are so outdated, but at the same time it's very nice. Feels a little bit like London somehow too. People drive on the left, and there's old, there's new, there's not a lot of space, but this is very nice. As you can see, here's a mix. We're now standing where it is the old train station, but they built some very new shops inside it. So there were many old buildings, and that of course I should have expected, but coming from Shanghai, it's just what I noticed immediately, as well as the cars, very old-fashioned taxi cabs, which was actually really cool. Like, that's not a negative remark at all. But yeah, it's just really different. Like, it felt like we were time traveling somehow. And then what else I noticed is not just all the buildings that they were older, but the people were older. And that is also something that I had read about. Like, I know that all of Japan has this aging population and they don't have too many babies and things like that. But it's something else to see that with your own eyes. On the metro, so many older people and not a lot of young people like in Shanghai. So that also was just a contrast for me. What else I really noticed when I was people watching was just how few people wear color. Most people seem to be wearing like blue, gray, lots of white and black. And on the metro especially, there was this one day when I felt out of place for just having pink nail polish, because everybody was wearing like darker blue and gray and white and just blending in. So it was a little depressing, really. Like, nobody had blue hair. I had expected lots of blue hair for some reason. I had expected people in Japan to be like really into silly fashion, but of course the majority of the population is really good at blending in. Much like China, except in China or Shanghai, the population is younger and people like to wear colorful stuff. Yeah, and I do too. So I felt out of place walking around there in between the people who are just like kind of dressing down. Having just come from Shanghai and also Seoul, I was just kind of surprised by how gray some of the buildings were. And then there's just no amount of flashy signs and billboards that can kind of distract you from that. I don't think Tokyo was necessarily that fun, to be honest. And that started in the taxi on the way to our hotel. The taxi driver, our shifu, he was immediately racist because we said we had just come from Seoul, and he said in perfect English, "Oh my goodness, Seoul is so dirty." And then my friend said that I live in Shanghai, and then he was like, "Oh, even worse, China, ugh." So that kind of set a tone. We did find at some point very cool temples. That is something that I hadn't really thought of, but of course, because Tokyo is an old city, there are many original buildings there and older buildings that you wouldn't necessarily have in Shanghai where I live. So I was really happy to find these temples in the midst of the construction sites. And my friend and I, we went to visit a couple, and that was really cool. Yeah, even though the construction noise put a little bit of a downer on it. And you can see that I didn't know how to pray. The trip was very much fun, by the way. Like, I don't want to be negative about Tokyo too much, but it's just, I wish that I had seen more of Japan than just Tokyo, so I just know that I have to come back because there is a lot of culture there. For example, Osaka, Kyoto, those are places really worth visiting, and I know from friends that that is great. Tokyo itself, I wouldn't recommend other people to just go to Tokyo just because it's just another city and it's really not that amazing. The one like technologically advanced thing was like the toilets. They're really interesting and fun. I wish I had filmed those, but I have not. But other than that, it didn't feel like Tokyo was that modern. We even went to a post office at some point and things were so old-fashioned. Like people were like using stamps and really outdated looking computers. So I guess in my mind I had thought of Tokyo as super modern or Japan as a super modern place. But it's not that modern at all. It's actually, it felt like they're a bit behind. But that's also because I live in Shanghai now and I pay with WeChat Pay and everything is so fast-paced. Nothing compares to that. It was really cool too to get lost in Tokyo with my friend. And like I said before, I did have a great time. I just wish I'd seen more. But yeah, I had a great time. I just think that it's more like because of my friend that I had a great time than because of Tokyo itself. We had a lot of fun just roaming around the streets there. And of course we did the typical touristy stuff. Besides seeing these temples, we went to the big crossing, what's it called? Shibuya, which is that very like touristy area, I guess, with the famous crossings, the crisscross, zigzaggy crossings that allow so many people to cross at the same time. And yeah, there was a lot to see. It was just different than what I had expected, but that's weird to say that because I didn't even expect anything. So I shouldn't be so negative. But look at how weird. And they had the cats again in the small cages, which I hate seeing. But that's Asia, I guess. So here you can see is at Shibuya. This really famous crossing allows so many people to cross at the same time. And you see locals, but also a lot of tourists who want to do that. And then many people cross at the same time because the lights are green all at the same time. And it's kind of cool to see that. So that was fun. I would say the temples were really fun. And me and my friend found a really cool shisha bar to spend an evening or all night almost. Just like talking about the meaning of life. So you can do all those things. However, for like hip clubbing, I don't know. I'm not the person to ask. What also mattered is that we did not have a local guide. Like in Seoul, my friend knew a friend. And it's always so much better to travel somewhere where you know people. And I guess in Tokyo, what really made it a weird experience is that we didn't really know what we were doing. At one point, we followed these two guys in suits. We thought to a bar, but it turned out to be a bookshop. But then it wasn't really a bookshop. It was like a manga bookstore with kind of like porn books in it, like naked ladies, like cartoon ladies. And we were not supposed to be in there. And the guy who worked behind the desk tried to kick us out by saying, if you do not understand, maybe you should leave. And it was very awkward, especially for him, because I guess they're not used to seeing like flesh and blood human being women. That was a weird experience, yeah. So next time I go, I'll go with somebody who knows the area.
Thank you for visiting Toyota today. This is the second floor main observatory, where it is 150 meters high. まもなくメインデッキに到着でございます。トップデッキはエレベーターお乗り換えでございます。こちら反対側に進みください。お待たせいたしました。ごゆっくりお願いします。
Thank you for watching, guys. I hope that I wasn't too negative. I'll see you again in Japan, but for now I'll be in China because yes, that's where I live. 再见大家, bye bye. You have to dance with it, right?
That's so cool.
He knows how to do it.